I think we fixed it. I hope. So here's hoping, right? Let's see. You're all talking about interesting things over here. I'm interested in this. Alright, Natty Z. Yeah, Borderlands 3 story way worse than Borderlands 2. However, gunplay and overall gameplay, brilliant, beautiful. And actually, we should be doing that. You can't hear the game. Okay, well, right now, all you should be able to hear is kind of very low, kind of Gregorian chant. We'll see if the game gets louder. Yeah, you should hear some sounds. Basically, the mic is capturing me and the game music. So, unfortunately, that's probably going to lead to a little bit of an audio issue. But for some reason, I can't get the simulator to work where it's like in the background but capturing the game sound while I'm playing it through OBS. I have to like put it on top of OBS, which means that you're just getting my computer's game sound through my mic along with my voice. So I do apologize for that. Hopefully, eventually, we'll figure out a little bit of a better setup, but I haven't actually gotten Virtual Boy here to work quite the way I want it to in terms of sound. So aside from that, I think we're good. If there's no other issues, let's go ahead and jump in real quick, and we'll see if how's that sound. I want to have good balance between my voice and the game. So let me know. Oh, we do have double jump. Meanwhile, you guys still talking about these. Oh yeah. Okay. So we haven't actually been here in a minute. It's been like I think 3 weeks since we had our happy little Circle of the Moon extravaganza. So where we need to go is you'll see over here on the left of the screen, kind of at the bottom of that little block there. There's a yellow room before this big drop down where we started. That's a warp room. Now, right immediately on the left side of that warp room, that's where we're going. There's that one little part of the map that's missing, and I do believe that is going to lead us exactly where it is that we want to go. So it looks as though we need to go through this side path right here and up and over. Our first target for the night, and I forget, okay, there we go. It's like, how do I play this game? I forget. So this game kind of added a neat little thing. Nathan Graves here, he's no Alucard, right? He's not even a Belmont, for crying out loud. Poor guy. He's doing the best he can. But he doesn't have all these crazy powers. We did get a relic that allows us to hop off the wall. It's kind of a one-off Mega Man X sort of ability, right? Oh, Battle Royale. That sure is the name of the game in recent years, isn't it? Nothing says a really, really good, well-crafted first-person shooter experience like a Battle Royale where you're trying to balance 100,000 things. Oh, gosh darn it. Oh, wait, I have double jump. What's wrong with me? Christopher. I just... FPS has really left me behind, and I hate it. You know, it's one of those things where there's a reason that Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal really spoke to me on a level of basically like almost a religious experience, because I was like, oh my god, first person shooters can still be good. I hadn't seen it in forever. All that, like, you know, Call of Duty and Titanfall and what else? Halo. I fucking hate Halo. Call of Duty, I would play Halo 1,000 times over before I ever want to play Call of Duty. Like, I hate those games. I don't want to yuck anyone's yum, as the kids like to say. You're having a good time playing them, great. But man, that's just not what it's about to me. And I don't like those games. I really don't. I honestly don't even like that they exist. I find them offensive. I just feel as though Doom Eternal, especially Doom 2016 also, but Doom Eternal in particular, actually really cares about and understands game design and, like, you know, making really well wrought, interactive, fast-paced, difficult gameplay puzzles and strategies. Am I playing Iga, not Sylvania? Yes, I guess. Yeah, this is... So far, right now, what we're doing is we're working on... Oh, wait, where am I supposed to be going? Oh, I'm actually exactly where I was going. I don't need to warp here. This is our... supposedly our Castlevania block. Yes, eventually Bloodstained. I think that the first one is fraught with hackers, but there's still a story to have with it. Oh, you're talking about... Yeah. No, like I said, we're going to be playing Bloodstained. For sure. Absolutely. So far, what we're doing, we're playing them in order. So what we're going to do is we're going to finish... right now we're on Circle of the Moon, right? And we're about halfway through Circle of the Moon. We're a little bit more. Now, granted, that's in terms of percentage. That's not in terms of completion, because at the end of this game, there is a really, really hard area where you have to go through kind of a combat arena. No, it was a zero less than that, but it was quite substantial, as you'll notice. And what whip am I going to say? I mean, he's only got the vampire killer in this one. Yeah, in this game you only have the vampire killer. I guess you missed the beginning. So Nathan Graves here is... He's not in any way, shape, or form... Oh, whoops. He's not in any way, shape, or form... oh, yes, Sabby, thank you. We do need to reset deaths. We haven't done that. He's not in any way, shape, or form related to the Belmonts. He's not a cousin. He's not anything like that. His teacher, Morris Baldwin, I think is his name, is like, I guess, a friend or something. Either of the Belmonts or of the Morris family. And he has the whip for a minute. And he trains his son and Nathan. So he bequeaths the whip to Nathan, not his son, who is also running around up in Castlevania here. And at the very beginning of the game, we burst in with our master, Morris Baldwin, on Dracula, right as Camilla is resurrecting him, right? And Dracula's just like, oh, hey, you're that guy that like, helped kill me. I'm gonna mess you up. Oh, what, you brought some kids with you? Yeah, fuck those guys. And just like throws a bat and breaks the ground under us when we fall. So we've been trying to work on this whole game towards rescuing our master and getting back there to kill Dracula. Well, also, our master's son is a dick. He was out there being an asshole. And so he doesn't like that we're the one that got the whip. He thinks it should have been him, and blah 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 blah. Right. So that's catching you up on the story. That's where we are. We arrived just in time to stop the resurrection of Dracula. Dracula got resurrected anyways. Our master is with Dracula and Camilla. That's probably not going well, especially since we have the vampire killer now. And now ourselves and our brother Hugh running around in the castle here. And now that we finally got things working, and everyone's caught up, and you're all talking about these brilliant gameplay innovations that have ruined gaming in the last several years, I'm going to use the bathroom real quick, and we'll be right back, and we're going to go and trash death, baby. Yeah! It's going to be great. Here, let me mute real quick so you don't hear me peeing. Yes, yes. Cam died because I killed it. I just manually turned it off because I was walking around doing things. Yeah, and I turned it back on. Hmm. Yeah, I had to pee on the floor right there, and I didn't want you to see it. So, we're back. Every now and then, people gonna be talking about. Ooh, we want to keep that cross. Now, you wouldn't see me turn it off because upon me turning it off, you would see it turned off. Okay, now what the hell is going on here? I thought that I was... Am I misreading my... Oh, derp. Right. So we get the ability to push crates, right? And now once everything is crate, we can go on down here. Oh! Underground Warehouse. So this is where... this is one of those things in the game. I think that when I first played this game, I missed this area. Or at least, I missed when they wanted you to go here. Oh dear. And what I mean by that is, amazingly enough, Death is like an ow. He's an optional boss in this game? Like, so we're coming down here to kill Death. That's our goal. Oh, I went the wrong way though. Whoops. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Christopher. You misremembered. We might have made a mistake. I mean, Nocturne, maybe if you take all the worst part of both of those, maybe, kinda. I guess it depends on what you mean. I do find it, though, to be very, generally speaking, very lazy gameplay, game design. When a monster comes along, you must whip it. Before that king monster sets out too long, you must whip it. Okay, so this whole area is going to be a whole bunch of annoying block puzzles. I'm going to show you, hopefully, some quick ways to get through it. As you see, you don't need to push that sucker aside, right? Just push it a little bit. Jump up in there and slide over the top. You got this. It's good. It's all good. Nathan's thinking. Okay, so these guys are actually pretty dangerous. We got some thunder armors over here. And I don't even remember... we've actually had some decently good luck with cards. Okay, so for those of you that weren't here and don't know what's going on, every Castlevania, right? Oh man, all blocked up in here. They have a gimmick, to a degree, right? Symphony doesn't. Symphony is the proto Castlevania. Its gimmick was what the game was, right? They had the audacity to return to the Castlevania 2 format. You know, that Castlevania on the original NES back in the day when nobody knew what they were doing yet, and everyone hates it and thinks it's terrible. Symphony was like, let's do Castlevania 2 again, but with Alucard. And all in Castlevania. And it turned out to be one of the most popular games of all time. But every game after Symphony, they were like, okay, well, we have to differentiate it from Symphony. So what are we going to do? Like, what's going to be the gimmick? You know, like Zelda. Like every Zelda game has a gimmick. Well, this game, it's the dual setup system, right? It's cards. It's fucking cards. So, while Nathan is running around out here, he's finding tarot cards, right? And you have two different kinds of cards. You have your action cards and your attribute cards, right? So, basically, your action cards are different gods. Like you can see, I've got Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter thus far. These are what is it going to affect, right? And then the attribute is how is it going to affect it. So what we're doing right now is we're rocking a Mercury card, which is going to affect our whip, right? And what we're doing... Oh, wait, no. We're using... is it Venus? Yes. We're using the Venus card, which is percentages. And so what we're doing is we're using Venus with Salamander right now. That just is like... Okay, well, that's going to increase your overall damage by 25%. That's a stat boost. So that's all of our damage. We're using that attribute, and we're also using the cross. The cross in this game, the cross boomerang, is really, really, really good. So, and again, sorry, I wanted to finish that thought before I addressed what you were saying, Nocturne. Pseudo-roguelite in that you start off with nothing when you first spawn in, and gain only unlocks XP for an overall account progression treadmill. Though one could argue that FPS multiplayer operates on a similar unlock XP system, though it shouldn't, is kind of my belief and my chief argument. Sabby's like, that sounds tedious in my opinion, and I'm like, no, I'm right there with you, Sabby. Yeah, I don't feel like FPSs should be built on that at all. Like, I just think that it's a false start. It's a bad design choice. And don't get me wrong, I love when people mix and meld genres. I could talk actually at great length about, like, for example, I love the Borderlands series. I really do. I have a weak spot, soft spot in my heart for it. But I wouldn't ever consider the Borderlands games FPS games. FPS is the perspective. They're very much more. It's more like, you know, it's like you're playing Diablo. It's a looter. It's a loot game. FPS and loot games, in a lot of ways, they don't jive. An FPS game should be built and predicated solely on actual skill, but as soon as you start introducing levels and like gear levels and numbers in that way, well, you're taking that away, right? You're diminishing the skill, and you are making it so, well, you can just grind. I mean, we'll just grind more, you know. And that's not an FPS. Like, immediately it becomes not an FPS, right? Now, granted, don't get me wrong, you can have like stuff that you build up in an FPS, but it has to be incorporated somehow into the skill gap. You have to be. It has to in some way, shape, or form. It has to like add or benefit from the system the game has established that is based on skill in first-person shooting, right? Like, that's why Fallout is not an FPS. Like, Fallout is an RPG that has an FPS perspective. I would say that, like, some of those arena games maybe have more of an argument towards leaning in the FPS direction, but generally speaking, it's more like, well, this is an FPS perspective, and you know, blah blah blah. But they're not an FPS. Like, an FPS, the beginning and the end of the day is just how good are you at shooting things, right? When you have a bunch of other stuff that mitigates that and takes away from the shooting element, it ceases being an FPS, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. A lot of people will disagree with me. and I get that, but I just I don't like those games. And honestly, I think that really at the end of the day, I don't like FPSs very much. Unfortunately, like I absolutely adore Wolfenstein 3D / Doom, right? I love the entire Doom franchise. I have a lot of respect for Quake. I have a lot of respect for Dark Forces, and I love where Dark Forces went. Okay, so we need to go. Oh shoot! I did not mean to do. Sorry, I'm not trying to jump around in circles, but I'm thinking about damn good FPSs now. But Dark. Oh shit! I forgot. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to break this block before we knock this down. So we're gonna have to reset this puzzle. I forgot about that. Dark Souls came at a time where, and by the way, for those of you that don't know, Dark Souls is the original Star Wars FPS. It came before Dark Forces 2, Jedi Knight, and Dark Forces, well, Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, which is Dark Forces 3. And then after that comes, you know, Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, I guess. I have a lot of respect for those games in that era. Right, yeah, exactly. And that's a really good thing to point out, Nocturne. But yeah, the Battle Royale is like, that's the kind of thing that you do in a gimmicky mode for an FPS game that already exists, right? But it's not built around it. So Fortnite was built around Battle Royale. And it's like, okay, well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with building around this element of a competitive FPS game, right? But the trick is you build the good engine and the really solid FPS game first. And then you say, okay, well, we have a really good game here that people love because of its actual merits. And now we're going to build another fun mode, right? Or we're going to figure out how this fun mode, adds to or builds on what we've already got, and now you can put all these pieces into play. But no, that was like the kind of the focus of the game, and it's like, yeah, well, it just makes it look weaker because it's like, oh shit, okay, so this is really bad. Please tell me I have a good healing item. Okay, so these guys right here are brutal as all hell. What do we got? We only have... Oh, we do have... Okay, we have some potions. We're gonna pop a few. I'm gonna try to move away before he before he shoots me in the head. Right? There we go. So those guys have one of the most powerful attacks in the game. Oh no! Oh god! Yeah, see, there you go. He just did 104 damage to me. And he killed me. So that's what I was trying to avoid. It's unfortunate. But yeah, I just think that, like, Fortnite is oft as like a very successful modern FPS game. And it's like, well, I mean, yes, it's first person and you shoot, but it's not really an FPS. Like, there's all this other stuff going on, and if you take away that whole huge multiplayer Oh, that's true. I guess that's true. You do see your character third person. Eh. Eh. I won't use Fortnite then as an example. Um, there's a lot of games like Fortnite that use first person. What's a good example? Honestly, I don't think it really matters though. Fortnite is a cluster cuss. Like it's like, oh, we're gonna mix a whole bunch of shit together. Okay, that's fine. And you look at like Halo. Like, I had a lot of fun playing Halo with Ryan. Oh my god, look at this. We have to do all this shit over again. We went that far in that zone. But Call of Duty, like, okay, so Call of Duty is a good example. Call of Duty is such a... I never, ever, ever want to hear anybody ever bitch about, the woes of capitalism or something if they're a Call of Duty fan. Because Call of Duty is just like the most bland, blasé, cut and paste, just repeat. I don't fucking add anything. I don't even care. Again, don't want to yuck your yum. If that's what you like, if you like these quote realistic shooters where every iteration of that damn franchise is exactly the damn same with better graphics, great. Good for you. You're probably not going to find a lot of comfort or fun or things that you're interested in here in my channel. If you do, wonderful. But I'm going to be real honest for you. That is the type of game design I have the least respect for. I think they're awful games. I don't give a crap. Get them out of here. If I'm going to play a World War II shooter, it's going to be Wolfenstein. And some of them are pretty good. But I'm not interested. I think that's like the most boring type of game there is on the planet. I hate Call of Duty. Like, if there is one game, like, I understand sports games more than Call of Duty, for crying out loud. I mean, some of the most fun games, I've got to say, are like golfing games and fishing games, and I'm like, in real life, okay, well, in real life, golf and fishing is fun, but I would never want to watch them, right? I want to do them with people that I care about. And it's like, oh, this is fun. Okay, so last time we figured out we want to go up, right? But yeah, Call of Duty. If I were ever gonna name like the game franchise I had the least respect for and disliked the most, it would be Call of Duty. I hate Call of Duty. I have no respect for it in general. Not the people that play it, but the ones that make it. I just don't give a crap. I think that they're lazy, boring, monotonous games. I would love to be educated on what they have innovated, right? Because as far as I'm concerned, they have taken... And granted, don't get me wrong, respect where respect is due. I do respect the Call of Duty games. I'm not going to say I don't respect them, because I definitely respect them. They have looked at what works and what doesn't, and they have just capitalized on it, and good for them. Because, by God, did they make money, right? I mean, if you were actually going to count the number of games in the Call of Duty franchise, I mean, it's got to be up in the several dozen, right? Like, they've obviously got something working for them, and most of their games are just fucking straight up repeats. And you'll find, like, a lot of the most hardcore fans are saying the exact same thing, where they're like, well, it's basically the same game, as the last one, but man, it looks good. And there's something, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I've watched countless hours of actual fans of Call of Duty talking about the franchise and how they're all the damn same. And I'm just like, you know, I didn't need you to tell me that. I just look at the game and I'm like, yeah, it's all the damn same. Well, yeah, absolutely, Nocturne, and that's great, you know, and I appreciate that. But then it's just, you keep repeating it over and over again, and you know, my grandfather was an historian. My great-grandfather was an historian. My great-grandfather actually is a very famous Lincoln historian. I grew up my whole life studying World War II. One of my grandpas was a massive World War II historian, and he bequeathed me several books when he passed away that are amazing, that you can't find anymore. And I've always been obsessed with history, and I love it. And I play COD, and I'm just like, man, read a book. Like, this just isn't, it's just not a good game. It's just not. It's not educational in terms of World War II. It's not fun in terms of gameplay or design. It's not innovative. It's certainly not a good FPS. It's not a good RPG. I've seen better story writing. I mean, it's just, watch a movie, you know? I just, look, if you're in a very particular niche, and you want to enjoy something with your friends, and you don't care too much about accuracy or quality, and graphics, and, you like certain styles of gameplay and have people to do that with, all of these things, if all of these things are true, Call of Duty is for you, right? Great. But, you know, if you want, like, okay, let's parse it out a little bit, right? If you want good history, read a book. Take a course. If you want really good FPS play a billion fucking other games, right? Especially play with people in like an in-person setting where you're like sitting on a couch together, right? If you want, Jesus, what else? I don't even know, man. It's like, in my opinion, Call of Duty fails in every possible way. So, well, yeah, exactly, Drew. You're exactly right. Read many, many, many books. And like I was saying earlier, it's like, oh, you like World War II? Great. I've got like an entire shelf dedicated to books just on World War II. All of them are like 1,000+ pages long, and all of them have amazing amounts of input, right? If you're interested in learning about that history, do it. You're not going to get it from public school, and you're certainly not going to get it from, from playing Call of fucking Duty, which is like the most ridiculous, stupid, you know, over the top. We're about to bite the big burrito in the sky here, not using our healing items properly. He still might kill me, but oh, I thought he was gonna die there. He did not. Okay, so most of y'all are probably used to Symphony of the Night. You may have noticed that Circle of the Moon is way harder. So Symphony of the Night is arguably the easiest of all Castlevania's post-classic Castlevania, right? Oh no, dude, Nocturne. I never said that you said they were. I was more replying to Droob and just in general laughing. No, I never said you said it was accurate. I was more talking about like if you're interested, right? If you're actually interested in the history of World War II, read a book. If you're interested in real life weapons, God, there's a game. It's been around long before this shit existed, and you could buy these games. I forget what it's called, but it was great, and it had very historically realistic weapons and pretty good FPS gameplay. But yeah, no, it's just it's ridiculous. Like Call of Duty is just it's a shitty just money. They're just printing money. Just buy our game, right? They don't give a fuck. Like they don't care about their fan base. They constantly remake the same game and charge full price for it. And it's just like, okay, well, this is garbage. I'm glad that some people like it. And I never ever want anyone to like hear me talk and express my opinion and say, oh, well, fuck, well, I like this thing. I guess I can't like it anymore. It's like, no, man, if you like it, you like it. That's great. I wish that I could like it the way that you like it, right? I just don't. I think it's garbage. But if you like it, well, I'm a little bit jealous of you because I wish I could like it. So don't feel bad about it. You fucking go and you like that shit and you grab that by the horns and you ride it into the dirt. Good for you. I wish I could. And I like things that most people would say, no, I don't like that fucking shit. Like, here's a great example. I love Dynasty Warriors. I started playing Dynasty Warriors, not in 1 or in 2, but when 3 had come out, right? So when 3 came out, I found out about it, and I'm a huge kung fu guy. I'm a Chinese martial artist. I've been doing martial arts pretty much my entire life. I'm a kung fu guy. And I know who these heroes are. I've read the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, right? So when I first discovered Guardian Heroes, you know, I was blown away. I thought it was the most insane, amazing fucking thing. I missed the user get banned. Yes, you did. Well, you missed some lame ass rando I'm a spam bot that came in here and Nocturne shut them down. that's all you missed. It wasn't. No, you didn't miss any. It wasn't a user. It was a bot that came in here to advertise. But my point being, you know, I understand what it's like to love a game and a franchise. It's like, yeah, it's kind of garbage. Like, I adore the Dynasty Warriors series. Absolutely adore it. But it's exactly what I call out Call of Duty for, right? Except there's one difference. And here's the linchpin for me, is that Dynasty Warriors is like we're a weird 3D, like third person, you know, beat 'em up. We happen to have like this Romance of the Three Kingdoms skin, right? Call of Duty is like, we are a hardcore FPS game. And I'm sitting there like, well, there's all these beat 'em up games, right? Dynasty Warriors knows exactly what it is. They don't mess around. Like, they got crazy over the top guitar and like characters flying through the air and the ground's exploding and all this stuff, and it's hilarious and it's tongue in cheek, and they're intentionally pulling on, like bad kung fu cinema lip. Granted, they've gotten rid of that recently, but it used to be very much like, this is exactly how it is when you've got people doing lip syncing and stuff, and they have these lines that are like straight out of kung fu movies and all this shit. And it's hilarious, right? They're very aware of what they are and where they are. Call of Duty has this whole element and aspect and affect of, no, we're badass, man. This is like the real shit. We're serious. And all this. And I'm sitting there like, man, bullshit. Give me a break. Y'all are full of it, And then it's like they think they're hardcore with their gunplay in their silly little, oh, look, we're in camo. And I'm like, bitch, level 1 of Doom Eternal, on not even the hardest difficulty, puts your fucking game to shame, and you think you're hardcore with your stupid little you're wearing fucking desert camo when you're in space. Like, don't even give me that shit. Of course, that's me being a little bit hyperbolic, but just saying, it's silly. Like, there's this whole hard ass mentality, and there are much harder games out there that push the player much further and don't take themselves so seriously. And Call of Duty in particular, to me, is egregious and comical. Like, people who are diehard players of Call of Duty that think they're hot shit, they just make me laugh. And it's like, oh no, I'm sure you're much better at me than FPS games. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to diminish your skills. I'm just laughing at you because you're hilarious. So, just saying. Yeah, and exactly, Nocturne. Looking at Lu Bu throughout all of Dynasty Warriors, I'm kind of in the same boat where I witness him. Witness me, spray paint my face, chrome. But I just kind of laugh because I'm like, man, like, y'all think you're hardcore. You play the first level of Doom on Nightmare, and you're out. You're just out. And I'm like, you got nothing, man. Give me a break. I am so unimpressed. And like Halo is just boring. I don't care about Halo. And I know that's a really unpopular opinion. I know that Halo is just absolutely beloved. I was there, man. I was there as Halo came out. And it was disappointing. It was fun to play with friends. But it was more fun to play with friends? Like every other FPS game that I knew of at the time. Halo was convenient because it was on a console in the living room. Really. It was great because it was a good, solid FPS two-player adventure on the couch. But there are so many other FPS games at the time and before it that were better. and that I would have rather played. If I could have played them on the Xbox with my friends in person, we would have been playing them, not Halo. Sorry. It's not a great game. It's just not. And it added a whole bunch of crap to the world of gaming that just made it worse. Halo added stuff that detracted from FPS games. Like actively detracted. Like regenerating health. Regenerating health was a big one. Not having many weapons, having to only carry like 2 at a time. That did so many bad things for FPS games simultaneously. Those 2 things right there, just those 2. Also, it was ugly. The enemies were boring. I don't like the lore. I mean, like, I don't know what to tell you. I played Halo. I played all 3 of them. I played all 3 of them to the end with friends. Don't like them. I think they're not great. And I think that they took away from a lot of what the genre could have added. I think that because they were so popular for a second, that they kind of hamstrung the cooperative FPS field to a degree. I think they were a poison pill. And though I did have fun playing them with friends, and I don't think they're bad games by any means, I don't like them. And I feel as though they chose... Oh, thank God. Okay, so we had this before, but we missed it. Luckily, this time we found it. I just feel like they took away from the direction that we could have gone with the FPS genre in that era. And I do blame Halo directly. I think that Halo did a lot more harm than good. And I think that it kind of hamstrung us in having a lot of really, really good multiplayer FPS games. So yeah, there you go. There's my very, very old, repeatedly reheated and thought out cold take, or I mean hot take, hot cold take on why I don't like Halo. But hey, it gives us something to do while I have to do these stupid warehouse block puzzles. Now you guys are talking about like cash grabs and all this stuff. Man, I can't even keep up with you. Anything that has anything to do with like a cash grab, automatically bad game design, right? Like if the second that you start relying on people paying more money to keep playing the game, you've already admitted that you failed. Period. I mean, a good game encourages people to play it. A good game gives the player incentive to return to it. A bad game relies on people to constantly spend money to continue to play it. A good game designer is going to want people to play their game. I mean... Oh God, yeah, Nocturne. I can't even imagine, man. It's one of those things, it's like, really? Really? Everything that supposedly sets you aside, you just like copy-pasted from someone else? Give me a break. That's disgusting. Like, we're gonna have to really put your counter you made for us to work. Because if that's really how that game rolls, then we need to call them out. Ooh, ow. Oh, hello. every chance we get. I didn't have my buff going on there. So yeah, we desperately need a little bit of a reset here. Whoa! Oh wow, I can't believe I actually jumped over that. Oh, didn't jump over that one though. Though I guess he died regardless. That's interesting. So we're not actually here to though I think there is a secret up here actually. Oh no, I'm wrong. Okay. So we are going to go ahead and we're grabbing this, right? We can take this with us. Yeah, no, I love your command. I wish that we had a little bit of context for the GI, but since we don't, we'll take your word for it, Nocturne, and just kind of laugh along with you at how often exactly it rips off Breath of the Wild. And I mean, and don't get me wrong, because Breath of the Wild, they did innovate, but they didn't innovate everything that made that game famous. It's more about the way everything came together, right? And God, they spent a long time. I mean, that team, they spent like 5 years at least on conceptualizing Breath of the Wild and working through it and all that. And it shows, right? Like, that game is very, very lovingly crafted. And one thing I love so much is there's this beautiful video out there of a few of the chief people, right, watching speedrunners for the first time of the game, and the speedrunners do all this ridiculous stuff, like it's just nuts. Like, anyone would be like, oh, holy shit. And they are, and that's what's so great is, you know, you got these world-class game developers, these Japanese businessmen that are brilliant and have proven it numerous times over, and they're sitting there and they're watching it, and they're just cackling and giggling like school children, right? And then, welcome back, Savvy. One of the questions in the interview, you know, is, well, how much... Oh, shit. That hurt. How much did they figure out? Oh, my God. Okay, so we got the serpent card. Intaru Adun. My life forever. I don't know what that means, Drew, but... Well, good to have you. Yeah, they copied that from Breath of the Wild, right? I mean, that's kind of it. It's like, persistent open world, amazing, free to explore. Look at this minimalistic soundtrack. Oh, everything is atmospheric. Everything is... Oh! This is Breath of the Wild. Oh, okay. Yeah, man. Been a long time. I have not played StarCraft since it was in its heyday. And I mean its original heyday, like when it was starting to take off, before all the hubbub and the build-up to like StarCraft 2 and the multiple failed attempts and kowtowing to Korea. It's been a long time. I was a huge StarCraft guy back in the day, but that was when StarCraft was new. The original one was new, which was like, I I guess that was around the same time as, was it the Dark Coast or whatever they called it? It was like the Warcraft 2 expansion. I forget what they called it. I had both. I was there, man. I was there for Warcraft 1, StarCraft, Warcraft 2, expansion for Warcraft 2, which, again, I think it was like Dark Coast or something like that. I forget. I remember. It's too bad that StarCraft 3 or 2 was so shitty. That is a bit of a bummer. So we need to be real careful. I would really like to keep... Yeah, but see, that's the thing, is that... Oh, crap. Now we got fucking harpies. Everyone says that, like, oh, this game, they ripped off... Oh, shit. They ripped off Breath of the Wild. I guess the only thing they have going for them is they didn't have the weapon durability. I like the weapon durability. Like, I feel as though, and again, this is not a judgment on anyone that does not like weapon durability in Breath of the Wild, right? Totally understand. I hear you, I see you, fine, great. However, I like it. In my opinion, it feeds directly into the way they designed the game. It has a place, it has a purpose, and I like its purpose and its place. A lot of people don't. I totally understand that, and that's fine. And I'm sure it would be really fun to play, like, you know, everything is normal in Breath of the Wild, except your weapons are invincible, right? But, well, and that's the thing, is that I have a hoarder heart too, and that's kind of why I love it, Nocturne. I talk about this and I think about this a lot. You know, it's one of the reasons I can't play JRPGs anymore. Like, effectively, as far as I'm concerned at this point in my life, I'm done with JRPGs. I think that probably the closest I will ever get again to a JRPG was when I purchased the Final Fantasy VII remake, right? Which is obviously not a JRPG. It's very much, it still has that JRPG system and that kind of turn-based combat, but you have much more of a real-time kind of third-person action RPG, right? Which is lovely. They did it very well. It's a very good game in many terms. Story's a little bit weaker, though they fleshed out a lot of stuff that was great. I wish I could combine the two somehow, but it's one of those problems where it's like, well, you got all this shit in your equipment, you never use it, and blah 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 blah. You're just hoarding items all the damn time, and I'd always beat every JRPG with like a 99 or whatever the max is of every item you can have, because I won't use them. I hoard them. And I don't know why, because I'm always like, I'm going to hoard them, I'm going to use them when I need them. I never fucking need them. I'm never going to need 99 Phoenix Downs. Why the would I, right? It's ridiculous. So, what I love about that setup is that it's like, oh, no, you're going to use your shit. Like, in Breath of the Wild, I use my shit. Like, I use it. I actually use it. And because I use it, every time I find something, it matters to me. And I think that's really important. In terms of game design, that's what they're going for. Because I wanted it to feel like this is kind of a survival game. And, you know, your food matters. Your arrows matter. Your weapons matter. Your shields matter. Honestly, I kind of wish it would have carried over to armor, even. I wish that your armor could have gotten fucked up. because I like it. I think it's really good. It means that you can have like this shield that's like amazing, right? It's so strong, and it's enchanted. Even it can do all this stuff, but guess what? It's gonna break. And you have this amazing shield that you know is gonna break, but you also have 7 more slots. One of those slots is literally a pot lid, like a lid you put on a pot when you're cooking a dish. And that pot lid can deflect a laser from a guardian and kill it. That pot lid is now important, right? Like, you're paying attention and you're looking at things in the world and you're saying, oh, that could be useful. That's important, right? This is what I think is important in game design. Like, these things matter to the player, and the themes and the gameplay come together in the world for the player, and you say, oh yeah, like any shield I can get is good, right? Any arrows I can get are good. Like, I think that's really important. And I think that does not work if you don't have durability on your items and permanent breakage, right? Because then all you're going to do is you're going to hoard the best shields, you're going to hoard the best weapons, you're going to hoard the best bows, and you're never ever going to have to worry about it again, right? But the way the game is structured, they want you to worry about everything that you pick up, and they want every single thing that you pick up to be an event on some level. So you got this huge open world and all this stuff you're finding all the time, and limited inventory and limited item usage, you know. And there are times that I was like, I had like an inventory full of weaponry, fairly large, you know, over 20 plus weapons. And I'm like, oh man, God, all these are really good. And I wind up throwing away a really, really strong weapon in order to pick up a Korok leaf. Because I know that where I'm going, I can utilize that Korok leaf and maybe fire or bombs and Octorok balloons and something else, right? Where it suddenly becomes really good and really powerful. And I'll even go ahead and throw away a weapon that has some real power, some real high numbers, right? In a game where weapons didn't have durability and couldn't break permanently, I would never, ever be faced with these choices. I would never be faced with like, oh, hey, look, I just picked up this. Do I want to get this bow? You know, like I totally understand. And a lot of people say, no, I like durability. Just make it, 3 times more. And I'm like, nah, I think it works pretty well. Especially considering that as you'll see in our playthroughs on Breath of the Wild with Master Mode, right? In Master Mode, enemies are way tougher, Link is way squishier, and they also regenerate life, like, fast. For those of you that have been watching, you see their life regenerates fast. Like, basically, you knock them down, they get up, it starts regenerating, and it's quick. So, especially in that mode, right? You have to think like, well, this game isn't designed around you just having really good gear and killing people. Honestly, if anything, if weapon durability is such a big deal to you, you're playing the game wrong. Because you should be killing more enemies with bombs. You should be killing more enemies with fire. You should be killing more enemies by knocking them off ledges and cliffs and into water. You should be killing more enemies with boulders and trees and dropping things off of them onto them. Explosions, you know. Like in Breath of the Wild, you have an entirely robust, amazing physics engine, right? When you have all these different ways of interacting with it. The game wants you to be killing enemies in clever ways when you have to kill enemies. Because a lot of the time, you don't even have to kill enemies. Because remember, Link is 100 years late. He died. Like, he straight up failed, and he died 100 years ago. Like, all the champions got ambushed by Ganon, right? All the knights of Hyrule got ambushed by Ganon. He, during the calamity, took over all the guardians, all the divine beasts. The champions were ambushed. They fought their hardest. They died, right? They were killed. Link fought and fought and fought through adversity, through everything going wrong. As we go further in, for those of you that haven't seen it yet, those of you that have, we've seen some of the cutscenes. Link fought to protect Zelda when everything was going off the rails. And he killed legions of enemies. But, ultimately, Ganon fucked him. Ganon was too smart. He was prepared. He fucked everybody. They all failed. Link died. All the champions died. Zelda's trapped in a time loop where she is using all of her powers to keep Ganon at bay, right? Throughout the course of the game as you play, reacquainting yourself, you're trying to get everything back down, but like, you know, it's weak, and the items are also just medieval with extra steps. Well, I think that medieval is an hilarious game. I think that Breath of the Wild is a better realized reality, but yes, I would say it's something like that. You failed, and you know, gameplay wise, the durability works really well for all the reasons I've stated. Thematically in the world, it works also, because it's like, look, all the weapons that you're getting, you're finding from buried in the ground, stuck in the earth, or you're looting them off moblins, bokoblins, stalfos, etc., right? These weapons are all from the Calamity War 100 years ago. They're rusted, they're withered. Just like everything else in this world, they're not what they used to be. Just like Link, right? The first Medieval was really good. It's a really good game. Really good. For any of you that haven't played it, Medieval 1, great game. The second one's not bad, don't get me wrong. It's just, the first one is really good. So, it's kind of like Disgaea, right? The first Disgaea, if you like, you know, tactical RPGs, it's probably the best out there. In terms of just gameplay. They get worse, probably, as you go, but the gameplay is so solid, they're still worth playing. So, there you go. But yeah, I was just going to say, that's kind of like one of those things, that like Breath of the Wild is, in my opinion, it's very intentionally and well crafted. And I totally understand when people say, the durability kind of sucks. And I'm like, I can understand how you would say that, but I disagree. I do not think that it is. I think the durability is, if anything, probably a foundational element of the game. And the gameplay as a whole, and the game design, and the theory there. And I think that probably it was one of the very first things that they said, nah, durability has to be bad, because we want to try to push players into that zone where they're playing the game the way that we want them to play it, where they're going to have the most fun, which is that don't run around killing everything with weapons. Kill things with fire, kill things with wind, kill things with water, kill things with ice, kill things with boulders, kill things with electricity, you know, on and on and on. Use the physics engine, use the world. Think about how Link would feel. I don't have any resources, but I can use the world as my weapon. I'm going to bring the world down on you, motherfucker. Like, that's what they want. And as long as you have really, really good weapons that you can get and keep and not worry about losing, you're not going to do that. Dominant strategy is dominant. You're going to take that big-ass hammer that doesn't break, and you're going to one-shot everybody. But if they don't let you do that, you're going to figure out another way to do it. You're going to use stasis on a boulder and knock it into a camp and just run over several people. You know, you're gonna make an Octorok balloon on a bomb, and you're gonna like swing a Korok leaf and blow that bomb over there, and then blow it up on a group, and then, you know, shoot some fire arrows and like explode a whole bunch of barrels, and then you're gonna knock someone into the water, and you're gonna stasis them, and then you're gonna shoot them in the face, and like, you know, all kinds of stuff. You can magnesis a weapon and float it over in a lightning storm, and then, you know, cause a lightning blast that blows up a whole group of enemies. You can shoot a lightning arrow into a pond of water. They don't want you to have high durability or infinite durability weapons, because there's a whole bunch of ways of dealing with the world at large without weapons at all. Period. Like, the whole world is a puzzle. And they give you on the Great Plateau all your ways of interacting with this physics puzzle. Using weapons is the quick and easy way. They want you to have fun and experiment and do all this other stuff. That's just my opinion. I think that's what they were going for. And so it's like, yeah, no, if you want to just be able... I do think there should be a way in the game. Like, for example, we're doing right now the Master Sword Trials, right? We're doing the Trial of the Sword, which is DLC. I think what would have been a good compromise is you complete the DLC, right? Or maybe not even that. Maybe you get the Master Sword in the normal game, so you don't even have to have the DLC. And then there's a quest in the main game that you do, and the Master Sword is indestructible, right? Fine. There you go. Problem solved. Right? You have a weapon now that is completely unbreakable. You never have to worry about it again. Great, fine. Done. Problem solved. I think that would be fine. But I do really like the game design of like, no, weapons break. And now, granted, my thing is that I would say, I'm being gracious there. I would say the better way to do it would be, you have to get the DLC, and you have to do the Trial of the Sword. And once you complete the final version of Trial of the Sword, the final one, we just beat the beginning one. We still have intermediate and advanced, right? When you beat advanced, the Master Sword is invulnerable. Right? Like, it has infinite stamina. Great. Great. That'd be fine. That'd be fun. Right? No, they don't. It still breaks. It comes back, for those of you that don't know. The Master Sword doesn't break. It loses power. It recharges. Whatever. But yeah. Yeah, Final Fantasy Tactics. Ooh, boy. I'm still looking at this. I'm watching what you guys are saying about all this. Granted, you're mostly having your own conversations, so still talking about medieval and all that, not really addressing what I'm saying. But yeah, Final Fantasy Tactics is amazing. It's one of my favorite games of all time. Final Fantasy Tactics is also one of the most fundamentally flawed tactics games of all time, unfortunately. That game was one of those games, it's like, on my list, it was this close to being an S tier game. And they made such a horrible fuck up that I'm like, Oh, God! Not only were you almost S tier, but that fuck up is so bad. I'm not even sure if you can be A tier now, right? Like, it's so good. The story in that game is so good, especially. It's so good. No, I'm still. I know you are, and I'm still here. I'm not saying you're not, um, but I'm gonna let that sit for just a second to stew because I'm about to come back and play again. And when I do, I'm gonna drop a whole bunch of my warranted or unwarranted opinions about how Final Fantasy Tactics went from being an S tier game to being B tier or less. So we'll be right back with that knowledge. Love y'all. Give me 1 second. All right, and we're back. And oh, I guess I muted my face. Well, my face is back. So let me show you on the doll where FFT hurt me. All of it. All the doll. No. I love Final Fantasy Tactics. Great story. Great gameplay overall. Um, love the design. Love the map. Love the art. The problem is they made a horrible, horrible gameplay design that, for the life of me, I will never to this day understand. And that is that the power you had random encounters, right? You have random encounters on the map. So you're going through the story, you're trying to go to your next thing, you have random encounters. The actual game story encounters, right, are set. They're set in stone what level they're going to be. The random encounters are based on the highest level character in your party. But not done. It gets worse. Monsters. But you have human types, right? Human types are, their level doesn't necessarily dictate their power. It's actually their equipment. Monster types, on the other hand, chocobos, for example, they're based on their level. And their level is based on your highest character's level. And that means when your main character is level 99, all random encounter enemies are level 99, and monsters' stats and attributes are based on their level. Which means if you have a random encounter when your main character is level 99, monsters have stats predicated on the knowledge that they are level 99. Your main character has stats predicated on the fact that he has level 50 equipment. Which means that random encounter monsters are god slayers of ultimate hit points. And it's bullshit. And you have to do things if you want to be a completionist, like, I don't know, use Sunken State on every single person in your group, surround an enemy completely so they can't move. The second they hit one of your people, they almost die, but they go into Sunken State, and you move them away, and you move another person in to take their gap so that the enemy can't move. That's if you can get to that position, because you have to control that whole fight before you get to the point where there's only one enemy left. And you have your main character using guts over and over again to buff everybody, right? The progression and the grinding and the leveling in Final Fantasy Tactics is completely broken. The best gear that you get in that game comes from Thunder God Sid. You have to use game-breaking bullshit, bugs, we'll say. Exploits is the proper term, to get everybody geared up. So you can have a bunch of knights dual-wielding Excaliburs, right? So you can do a bunch of stuff. But even still, your party, even with these exploits, are going to fail. Once you start running into, again, these random encounters with monsters who their power is solely dedicated or dictated by what their level is, which is completely dictated by what your most powerful characters is, right? Whereas your character's power is dictated by their gear, period. That's it. Like, once you get to around level 50, it's all about gear for your people. But for monsters, it's based on level. So you have one level 99 chocobo versus your entire party of level 99 human players. That level 99 chocobo is a fucking in-game boss, motherfucker. And you better be prepared to use everybody's abilities and shut that asshole down. And these guys better be built right. And you better have some serious damage. And I hope you went to the deep dungeon and you got all this stuff. And don't even get me started on trying to get Cloud all of his fucking limit breaks. Because Jesus fucking Christ, you better be prepared to really put in like How long did it? I don't even know. How long did it take me to get Cloud all of his limit breaks in Final Fantasy X? I have no idea, because by the time you get Cloud, you've had to do multiple things that really sucked. He really sucks when you get him. He doesn't have his weapon when you get him. He has nothing when you get him. And then you got to do all this nonsense. And it's like, okay, look. Final Fantasy Tactics is great in every way until it starts breaking down to the actual engine, where you're going with it, and the end game. And once you start to do that, it completely falls apart. And it has possibly one of the worst end games of any well-known or popular JRPG or tactical RPG. And it frustrates me to no end, because it's such a good game until it's the worst game ever. And don't get me started, because I have a play file where every single person in my party is level 99 and has 100% mastery of every class in the game. I've done it. I've been there. I did it. I mastered that game. And it was the worst. The worst. I have never played a tactical RPG that was even close to as bad, right? Because it's not that it's like, just like, oh, this is painful. It's that it's broken. It's just broken, right? I played other tactical RPGs where it's like, this is painful. This is a dick. This is going to take me longer than I'm willing to spend, right? Great. Well made, though. I see what you're doing. I appreciate it. I'm just not going to do it. Here's looking at you, Disgaea, Lafacel, Phantom Brave, all of the above. But Final Fantasy Tactics, broken. It's broken. It's just broken. Like, they didn't think about what it was gonna come to, right? They didn't think about what it was gonna take. And they didn't think about the way that worked out in the interim and in the long run either. Neither one of them. And so you get to this place in the game where you're just like, this is busted. This is one of the many reasons I prefer playing Disgaea. But yes, absolutely, is because Disgaea knows exactly what it is, right? All of those Atlas games know exactly what they are. No, I'm sitting here talking. We've been paused in this isn't moving. So we'll see if you can. I'm just sitting here talking about games right now, and why I think that Final Fantasy Tactics is like, God, it was almost great, It's one of those games that's like, it's one of my favorite games. And ever since it came out and I played it, my whole life since then, I've been like, oh, it's so close. It's almost what I call a game of God, right? It's almost S tier. Almost. But the sin that it committed that kept it from paradise is so egregious. Yeah, all sin may be equal in the eye of God, but not in the eye of Zader. And Final Fantasy Tactics sin is too great. Too great. And I cast it out. I spit it out of my mouth. Unfortunately. Because it was so close. But man, did they fuck up. They fucked it up. I don't like what they did. Ultimately, it's bad. I just think ultimately it's a very good game that went really, really poorly. Unfortunately. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to survive this. This is nonsense right here. Okay. This is really scary. I think any of these enemies are going to kill me in one hit where we are. I'm not even sure, because I kind of forget. I know we're going the right way. Like, I know that we need to kill Death down here, but like, I don't really remember how to get there. And I'm a little bit unnerved. Okay, so we do have, you can see right behind us, we've got that vertical column. And we've come through before and we died. It would be really great if we could figure out. Also, I'm like lagging a whole bunch for some reason. I don't know if it's lagging on your end too, but I'm getting like some super sluggish play all of a sudden. Maybe because I took so long to talk about Final Fantasy Tactics and Call of Duty and all that stuff. I'm not trying to be Mr. Negative up in here. I'm just trying to talk about, I feel as though one of the most important things in this channel is game design conversation, right? And we had a couple of really big ones come up tonight in the stream. I don't know if I did that right or not. Which is, you know, Call of Duty and Final Fantasy Tactics. Final Fantasy Tactics being a game that I truly love, and Call of Duty being a game that I truly despise. So yeah, a combination of talking excessively about these two things is oh shit. Okay, so here, oh god, this is really bad. Well, what I was about to say is these guys can kill me. No, definitely, dude. I love talking with games about you, which is why I'm doing it here in the stream, right? I think this is a great place to do it, and for anyone that's not not speaking up or is not here yet, but we'll see this later, by all means, please, always, I fully endorse and encourage opening that can of worms and that conversation, because I love it. And I speak with my friends like Nocturne and Savvy and many others here in Droob. God, I have talked all these people, all their ears off at great length about how I feel personally about game design, right? And yeah, I love those types of conversations, and I would fully encourage all of you to take part as well. But when these things come up, certainly when I'm streaming and the whole focus is gaming, right? I'm gonna talk about them at great length, and yeah. So there you go, and so we have. But I have very, very strong feelings. Everyone that's known me my entire life will say, well, when Christopher feels something, he really feels it, and boy do I. And when it comes to games, yeah, I have lots of strong feelings. And again, Final Fantasy Tactics, it has a very that game has a very special place in my heart, and that is also a game that since its release, I've been frustrated with, right? Because I do love it. I love it and I hate it, and I'm even to this day, when I think about Final Fantasy Tactics, because I have come back to that game and I've replayed it several times, I've been like, oh, why weren't you better? Like, I legitimately get annoyed with Final Fantasy Tactics because I love it so much, and it would have been so easy, right, in my opinion, for it to be a much better game. And I get mad at it for not being that better game sometimes. And I know that sounds silly, but it's true. It's real. Like, that's legitimately how I feel. Is that that's one of those games that I'm constantly frustrated with. Wow, I'm getting my ass kicked here. I'm not handling this well. There we go. Okay, that's a better way of handling that, and we do not need that stopwatch. And don't get me wrong, people. It's not like Final Fantasy Tactics is alone. I have plenty of games like this, right? It's just that I've always been in that mindset where I'm a gamer and an analyst, and I like to pick things apart, and I like to think about them in a lot of detail, and especially things that matter to me. I really heavily analyze them. And I think Final Fantasy Tactics really deserves a special place in my heart, because there are a few games that make my list. And what I mean by that is that they're like, oh my god, like this is almost an S tier game. But it's not. So we have to think about that, right? Like, I have spent a lot of time and energy throughout the course of my life kind of figuring out why Final Fantasy Tactics doesn't belong, you know? And there's a lot of games like that. Because at the end of the day, you know, if you're being real, you're being legitimately critical and thoughtful, then you got to tell yourself, like, well, you should have very many, or very few, I should say, very few. Ow, Foxy. Very few S tier games, right? I try to think about it in terms of kind of parsing them out, and you only get to have one, right? You get one of every category, every genre. Like, for example, if you want to talk about S tier JRPGs, well, it's Chrono Trigger. Like, I'm totally willing to have a conversation about why, when it comes to straight up run-of-the-mill traditional JRPGs, why there may be a better game than Chrono Trigger. But from my experience, there ain't no better game than Chrono Trigger in that regard. I also try to make this kind of argument based on a lot of different factors, right? Not just like, I to a degree, I have to take my we're fine. I think we just got a weak guy in here. I'm gonna turn my I keep forgetting to turn my my damage buff for my cards back on, so we're gonna do that. But, you know, I try to be able to turn off, to a degree, my nostalgia, right? And objectively do some comparisons. So, for example, I can say, alright, well, I think that, like, Symphony of the Night is one of my favorite games of all time, period. From any genre, right? Now, if you're going to be technical, Symphony of the Night is the same genre of game, a follow-up to Castlevania 2 and the original Metroid, right? Absolutely adore the game. I think it's amazing. It is probably one of my most replayed games of all time. Period. Right? Like, no contest. does that mean that I think Symphony of the Night is the best game of its genre? Right? No. No, I do not. In terms of actual gameplay, like, wow, I'm like hardcore lag going on right here. I mean, granted, I love Symphony of the Night. It's one of my favorite games of all time. But I certainly would not put it S tier. And if I have to compare it, for example, to Super Metroid, I would say, well, no, obviously. It's not on the same level. Now, I've gotten some pushback about this, which I find surprising. I don't see the argument, personally, and maybe that's my failing. But I believe that Super Metroid on the Super NES, in terms of oh yeah, we want to do this, don't we? In terms of that style of game, right? That like action RPG, free roaming, you know, whatever. I think that Super Metroid is perfect. I think that Super Metroid is completely S tier. I think that game is so incredibly... Is it still working on your end okay? Is that what you're telling me, Drew? But I think that Super Metroid is so perfectly constructed. Yeah, call Twitch and also tell them that I said. but yeah, I really do. I think that Super Metroid is, in terms of what we like to refer to as a Metroidvania, Super Metroid is an S tier game, right? And if you don't believe me, what I would challenge you to do is to go and watch Zoast, Z-O-A-S-T, like toast, but with a Z. Go watch Zoast do a 100% speedrun of Super Metroid. And then try to come in here and tell me how that game is not perfectly constructed. Super Metroid is a beautiful game. And it's not my favorite. I think it is the best Metroid game. And I do have a very soft spot for Metroid. I really love Metroid. But it's not my favorite. And Super Metroid is not my favorite Super Nintendo game. But when I think about actual game design and what they were going for and the layout and everything else, and I watch a playthrough of Super Metroid, like, man, that shit is tight. Like, that game is so incredibly tightly and skillfully wrought. I don't know what to tell you. You know, like, that is a perfect game. And it's a beautiful game. It accomplishes its goal, and I would say that in terms of a Metroidvania, Castleroid, from what I've seen at least, right, Super Metroid is a perfect game. Like, it is the S tier game of that genre for me. Right? In my opinion, what I measure games on. It's not my favorite one, but it's the most perfect one. Right? And I would say Hey, it's Wanyan. What's up, cool cat? It's like, here's Wanyan right here. Cat ears and oh yeah. But yeah, just for what it is, I would say Super Metroid is perfect. And I don't know what they could have done differently that would have improved on that game, right? It's very rare you can say that. That's kind of like when everyone thinks about like a platformer, like classic 2D side-scrolling run and jump. Who do they think of? Mario, right? Like I would say Mario 3 is kind of the magnum opus. And there's some difference of opinion. Some people think Super Mario World is better. I don't. I think Super Mario 3 is the apex. Like I think that was the peak Mario, right? Super Mario World is amazing and I love it, and it did add a lot of things, but it also in some ways felt like a step backwards. So it had kind of both things going on, but I would say in like that pure platforming, what Mario is going for, Mario 3, hands down, S tier, perfect. You're not going to find a better game, right? If you want pure platforming action, Mario 3 is S tier. You want Castleroid, Metroidvania, action, primarily exploration RPG without real RPG elements, Super Metroid, S tier. Best you're going to get. Castlevania. I think Castlevania 3, there's an argument to be made for Chino Rondo. But Chino Rondo, in a lot of ways, I don't know, it feels like they focused on the wrong things. Castlevania 3 feels like it got good things while still focusing on the right things, if that makes sense. Though you could say that the return, but the pared down. I don't know. I think it should be more pared down. I think Super Castlevania 4 went ham, and they kind of broke the design of the game. I think it's a great game, and I love it, but I think it's not quite in the same vein. I don't think it counts. I think you have to take Super Castlevania 4, and take it aside. Like, I don't think it actually counts as a traditional Castlevania, because it does too many things that fundamentally change the gameplay. And the extreme potency of the whip, and 8-directional whipping and spinning the whip simultaneously alongside nerfing all the sub-weapons, right? And being able to jump onto and off of stairs and use sub-weapons on stairs and use sub-weapons while crouching. These are all things that are not necessarily a bad game design choice, but they completely and fundamentally change the series. And the series realized that, which is why you don't have most of those things in Dracula X, Chino Rondo, etc. Right. Moving forward, in the few games that were left that were classic Castlevania, they were like, well, CV4 wasn't classic Castlevania, so we're going to pretend that didn't happen. And I just think there's a lot of stuff like that. Like you look at my quote-quote S tier of games, and a lot of the time they might not be my favorite game, but I can look at it and say, okay, well, this is like an exemplary version of this genre, and they're doing all these things better. Look at all these games that have done what they tried to do, tried to encapsulate that, tried to move forward with it, because they innovated and they just straight did it better. Period. And so on that note, what's really fun, right, is that we're playing Circle of the Moon, which is the very next game after Symphony of the Night that broke the mold and changed Castlevania. And it's a really good game, but it's not actually very well loved by a lot of people. It gained more traction after the fact. Also, okay, so I just got to point this out. You all know Castlevania 3 is one of my favorite games of all time. So, Death here, guess what this song is? For those of you who don't recognize it, this is Dracula's, not his first form, but his two final forms from Castlevania 3 is Death's boss song right here. Which is awesome. I love that. So great. So yeah, this version of Death doesn't give a shit about us. He doesn't know who we are. We're not a Belmont. We're not Alucard. You know, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. And he's just like, oh look, some dude up in here interfering with our shit. Well, I'm just gonna kill him. I got my little top hat and my... Okay, let's see. We got... Okay, so this is his... Oh, God, yeah. The fucking tracks in this game, Wanyan, you're not wrong. Like, this game, one of the things I love about it so much is they brought back all of my... some of my absolute favorite songs in all of Castlevania. They did remixes of in this game. So we're gonna stay away from him and just send lots and lots of crosses and we're just gonna try to murder him. Because yeah, Death is just like a big mantis, creepy skeleton bug now. Luckily he moves very slowly. Oh shoot, as you can see, he does lots of damage. So oh God, okay, I forgot he did that. Please die, please, please, please. Yes, thank you. Oh God, there he goes. All right, so you get this nice. He has a nice little death sequence where all of his little buggo pieces and parts get sucked up into a black hole here. And I'm just like, oh God, please die. And of course, unlike every other Castlevania, you don't even get like, I don't even get a little boss thing here. Like, I don't even get an orb or anything. He dies and it's like, great. Well, glad he's dead. So we got our cleansing amulet. We're gonna need that. That's important. And as you can see, we made a hole in the wall. Luckily, we do get a life max up here, so we are restored. We have overcome death, y'all. So this asshat, you got these are like the flying zombies from Symphony, except they're just like this poor sad golem. You break his legs off and he just crawls at you desperately. Like, I'll bite your ankles off. But we did it. We took out Death. Now the question is like, okay, that's great. Where the are we going? So we got all kinds of like tree, dryad, will-o'-the-wisp mofos, and a bunch of golems. Oh shit. Okay, we need our cross. We're gonna keep that. We're gonna take some damage to make sure we keep that. Oh! Well, okay. I should have looked at the map before I did that, but yes, the death of Death. Death is dead. Again. Yet again. I don't know how many times we've killed Death on this stream now, but it's a lot. On the upside, we got our goods, and we escaped, right? Oh, gosh darn it. Okay, so apparently, weak-ass dum-dum enemies, they've now been replaced up here in our starting zone. So we got some big boys rolling up in here. We should have a... Okay, I went the wrong way. I was gonna say we do have a save point here near us. Let's go ahead and go save, right? Because we basically cut through. Oops. I was gonna say we basically cut through most of the underground warehouse right there, and took out Death without really being able to save. We got to save one time. And oh, whoops! No, I need to go back and I need to go down. Well, we're just. We meant to do this. I totally meant to do it. We're just farming. No, I was supposed to go back and down over here. So now that we've done that, and that's kind of funny because it's one of those things that's like, I feel a little bad. Like, I'm kind of glad on the one hand, because we did get the hell out of there, and honestly, in terms of completion, the underground warehouse is not important. It's just not. Actually, it's kind of funny. I was going to mention this when we were in the process of fighting Death, right? Oh, she is kicking my ass. But normally Death is like a main boss, right, in Castlevania. In this game, he's actually optional. And there are like no optional bosses in this game. But for some reason, Death is one. You do not have to go and kill him and get the cleansing amulet that we got. This amulet. Where is that? Is that in magic items? Yeah. So yeah, we got cleansing, right? Cleanse specific bodies of water. So they are safe to traverse. Well, great. That sounds wonderful. Here's the thing. You don't need to actually have that item to beat the game. What that does is the next area that we're going to is the Underground Waterway, I think is what it's called. And all the water there is poisoned. And you can totally make it through it. But if you go to the Underground Warehouse and you kill Death, well, then it just, like, the second you step into the water the first time, it, like, cleanses all of the water. And you don't have to worry about it anymore, right? Only happens if you go and fight Death, but you don't have to do that. The first time I played this game, I went to the Underground Waterway, and I'm pretty sure I actually went all the way through it and beat it before I even knew that the Underground Warehouse and Death existed. So, if you're ever going to play Circle of the Moon, there you go. Once you get the ability to push the crates, go kill Death and get the cleansing amulet first. Because the Underground Waterway sucks if you don't have it. And yeah, again, Death doesn't know. Somebody's poisoned the water hole. Exactly. He doesn't give a shit. Death doesn't even know who you are, you know? Also, now we have a whole bunch of... We haven't done any of this, like, oh, let's go around and, like, you know, push all these crates that we can push now. We basically got the ability to do that, and then we immediately went, there we go, to kill Death. So we'll grab a couple of these. Now, it's kind of funny because I'm like, okay, well, I know exactly what I need to do. I need to go to the Underground Waterway now, right? I kind of forget where it is. So, let's see. We open our map. Okay, so if you see, like, almost right in the middle of the map, there's a yellow door, or a yellow... Sorry, excuse me. There's a yellow room, kind of in the middle, a little bit up above center. I think there's some stuff I can get to there now. However, I think where I really need to go is if you go kind of catty corner at an angle down from that, more on the left or the right side, there's a yellow door there where there's a bunch of unexplored map. I think that's where I need to go. And I think that the door under it there, that whole area... Oh! No, actually, I know exactly where it is. You know where we started? We started here. Okay. It's actually in this long vertical chamber, so it's above me. I remember where to go. We got that ability, and again, it's been a couple of streams, so it's one of those things you have to remember. But a couple of streams ago, we got the ability to break these like Iron Maidens, and actually where we started this stream tonight in a save room, we were like right next to a save room, and that is actually where we need to go. So we're gonna climb on up. I guess I really should be getting as many hearts as I can, because boy did I spend a whole lot of them fighting death here. Okay, so we're gonna not go over here, we're gonna keep going up. Nathan is also... Poor guy. I mean, again, he's not a Belmont. He's not, you know, like a half vampire. He's not any of those fancy things. He's just a guy. He's just a really hard-working dude. Okay, actually, before we go in here, we have a save point. Let's go ahead and we're going to go up right up here and save. And then, yeah, where we were right there, that's exactly where we want to be. Nathan Graves is one of the biggest badasses in all of Castlevania. He's not a Belmont. He's not a Morris. He has no bloodline abilities. He's just a guy that is really hardworking and wants to do the best he can. And he makes it happen. And he fights Dracula and Camilla and Death. You know, he's fighting like the big three there. There we go. All right, so here it is. So see, this water's poisoned, but I just cleansed all of it for this whole area. A small town boy living in a small town world. Oh God. And so here's your welcome to Castlevania in Merman. Right? So you can imagine if you did not have like a cleansing amulet and you go down here, well, not only are you taking damage from the water, like Alucard in Symphony, right, at the beginning, but then you've also got all these fishmen jumping all over you. So yeah, here we've got these ice boys. So this area is a little bit annoying. You might notice a song from Castlevania 3. This is actually, I believe, Alucard's area's song. If it's not Alucard's, it's the one right before him. Pretty sure it's actually his song though. So this whole zone is triple bad, right? Because it doesn't have a whole lot of goodies and rewards and save areas and stuff, for one. But two, if you don't have the cleansing amulet we got from Death, then this is all poisoned and awful. And three, it's a maze where you got to hit these switches to you know, raise and lower these staircase platforms, which are very Sonic. These remind me very much of Sonic the Hedgehog. Starting with Sonic 2. Like, these are all over the damn place. Certainly in Sonic 3, they're a big deal. But yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like, man, this area really sucks if you're not prepared for it. Luckily, we're at least a little bit prepared for it, right? So, So Nathan's he's doing some good up in here. Ow! Oh! Oh no! Oh no! I'm frozen. Okay, there we go. I was like, oh god! I thought I was gonna duck that. I did not. Just like being, I'm pretty sure in this one. Just like being stoned in like Symphony of the Night. If you're frozen, you're gonna take a lot of damage. So we definitely do not want that. That's not good mojo. And actually, hey, come to think of it, do we have... Okay, so these are our percentages, right? This is... Oh, whoops. Oh, shoot. Wrong buttons. The buttons in this game are weird. This one? This one? No. This one? Whip of Thorns, Stone Whip. Okay, so we... Fire Whip! There we go. Ah, there it is. So now we got a Fire Whip. So let's see if this will actually work to our... Oh, wait. My bad. Okay, so never mind. This is one of those secret areas. So this is what we were talking about before. Where... There we go. So this is like Metroid, right? You want, gonna freeze them. Oh shoot! You're gonna freeze them with ice. So in this game, they really were trying to pay homage to Metroid, and instead of freezing them with an ice beam, you stone them, because a friend with weed is a friend indeed. Oh, and if you give them a if you help them up, they'll help you up, right? Yeah. So yeah, so you get this. Once you get the ability to use a stone whip, then you can do that tasty stuff. And yeah, there we go. We got a little upgrade there. Oh crap! Get a critical hit on him or something? I don't know what that was. I got like a 78 hit there on him one time, and I'm not sure why. Hey, but that works. Alright, so that's good. We got that. Tasty goodness. So tasty. Oh, is that cheese? Does he have cheese up there? I want cheese. Zeta likes cheese. Yeah, I was hoping this flaming whip would actually do a little bit more, but I don't think... Oh, no, I guess it actually is adding a decent amount of damage. Okay, so they take 48. Sans Flame. Yeah, it's 5. 5 more damage when you're dealing with numbers around 50. That's 10% damage increase. That's pretty damn good. And it looks cool. Right? So yeah, we'll take it. Nathan's just fine with it. Okay, so I can't get over there. I think maybe we didn't need to... Oh, we can go down here, though. Though not too far. Spearfishing. Okay, so yeah, that's really not going to let us get very far. Yes, please bear with me, people, because I certainly do not remember what the path... Oh, right, okay. I think actually... Okay, so what I think I need to do is I need to hit this because I need to get over here, right? So we'll have that one down, and then we'll go... A roundabout, and up and over. A yonder. A jumpy jump. And then... now we can access that path from this direction. And let's look at our... yeah, sign's pointing to me not going the right way. But maybe there's a little bit of a secret over here we can grab, right? I think this actually is just going to lead us up to, yeah, I was going to say where we were. Yeah, okay, so we got that. So now what we need to do, it looks like... oh, wait, actually. Maybe I did need to do that, just so I can be down here. It looks... okay, so it looks like... you see the room we're in right now? Directly... okay, so directly under me, for one, I think there's a room that we need to go to. And that actually is probably going to lead us to the rest of this area, which is very much where we need to go. However, you'll also notice in the room that I am directly across from me to the left, there is a door that is open. And I'm willing to bet that there's maybe something over there, but I think this is actually the path that I'm supposed to be on. So we'll go this way for now, and we'll figure out the rest in a minute. In a minute. Also, my poor little phone, Palantir, here is just making all kinds of noise. Huh. Alright. Anyways. Oh no! Oh, electric boogaloo. So, about that electric choo-choo we were talking about in Zelda, apparently we got some up in here too. Oh god! Oh, what have I done? Hey, I see chicken. Meat! It's a meet and greet, people. Oh god, I'm stuck. Thank god this water doesn't actually hurt me. Ah, Jesus. Okay. So, poor Nathan over here. Just, oh, jeez. Ah, God. Okay, we need to go. It's time to leave. Oh, jeez. Alright, this is not the best. Ow! Damn lizard, or fish. Fuck your fish. Oh, shoot. Okay. Well, we already have magic gauntlets out the ass. Okay. I sure wish I had more food. That would be nice. Also, where the hell are we? Ah! Oh no! Uh-oh. Oh, see, okay, that's exactly what I'm talking about. See that? So, I didn't break out of that ice in time. Oh, God, that sucks. Okay, that's really harsh. I got hit again by an ice attack when I was frozen, and it did 100 and like, is that like 142 or 124 damage or something? Jeez. It's a lot. That's one of these Castleroid Metroidvania kind of things. Is if you get like frozen or stoned, right, you're fragile. So you get hit again. Well, the moral of that story is don't get hit again. It's not good. So yeah, that really hurt. We're gonna go ahead and use the meat just to feel ever so slightly safer. Though I don't feel safe at all. Especially considering, yeah, I was gonna say, especially considering that, like, I'm not exactly sure where I'm going. Oh dear. I'm very scary, and I would very much like to have a save point. Oh god, okay. So this is real dangerous. So there's a witch up there. Okay, Nathan. Run, Nathan, run! Oh god. No, I didn't mean to hit it. I didn't want to. No! It's about to get bad. Oh god. I don't know how that didn't hit me. I think actually the slowdown there helped me a little bit. I'm alive! Okay, well... No, I'm not. No, I'm not alive. To answer your question, Sabby, not really. There are... I want to say that there are some pieces of gear, maybe, that have elemental resistance. Not really, though. In this game, this game is much simpler than Symphony, right? Because even though this was building on what Symphony of the Night did, this was the very first Castlevania game after Symphony of the Night, and it was made for the GBA, and as a result, it's a lot simpler. Like Circle of the Moon is a much more bare bones, simpler game than Symphony, and it really just kind of doesn't have a lot of that stuff. It does still have like strengths and weaknesses, but as far as I am aware, they're pretty much just like enemies are weak to, right? Because you have the card system, and like I can get like Fire Whip and Ice Whip and sub weapons and spells. There's so many different spells in this game. They really played up that element. And you can see, like, I have all my stats there, and my stats do help determine like that kind of stuff. But as you notice, there's only strength, defense, int, and luck, and defense is just defense. Like for enemies will have elemental weaknesses and strengths, but as far as my character is concerned, no, not really. It's pretty much just, this guy does this, and they're this powerful. So, like, for example, there were the light armors, right? Like, I died once on the stream because one of those armors that shoots holy lasers, like, just shot me with a laser, did like 104 damage or something stupid. And it's like, yeah, there's aside from defense, right, there's not like a holy resistance stat that I could get. So as far as I know, no, that's not true. Harmony of Dissonance, the next game on the GBA, also I think doesn't really have like elemental resistances or anything like that. But this one certainly doesn't. I feel as though in many ways they were trying to make this game kind of a half step between traditional side-scrolling whip Castlevania and Symphony JRPG, well, action JRPG kind of thing. I think this one was more like just like, you know, but it feels that way, at least. That being said, Jesus, I do wish it'd be really nice to have some kind of ice resistance here, because oof, these dicks do not like that being frozen. And one of the reasons that Circle of the Moon is one of the harder Castlevanias, certainly in terms of, like, you know, the Castleroid Castlevanias, is that, as you probably noticed, save points are not anywhere near as frequent. And also, there's no shop. You might have noticed I'm having to do a lot of backtracking if I die. And that's because there just aren't anywhere near as many save points, and all of the healing items that I have are items that I have picked up from enemy drops. There's no librarian or anything like that in this game, so you can't just buy more health, right? And that is I went the complete wrong direction by accident. I went up. I was supposed to go down. I started right by the where we wanted to go, and I got caught up talking, and I wasn't paying attention. But yeah, like you can't buy healing items anywhere, or armor for that matter. I mean, a lot of the time, you know, you'll have a shop where you can also buy some equipment. Well, you can't buy health or anything. You can't buy anything. There is no shop. There is no librarian. Nobody wants to help Nathan. He's a nobody. Poor Nate. So that's one of the there's so many things that make this game one of the hardest, because I'm not going to put it on par with, you know, most of classic Castlevania, right? Most normal Castlevania games, they're going to be harder than any of these Castleroids. That being said, as far as Castleroids go, I would say Circle of the Moon and Order of Ecclesia, the first and the last, two hardest, by far. I think all of the ones in the middle of those two, no contest, right? The next game we're going to play, Harmony of Dissonance, that follows this one, super easy comparatively. I don't think there's any contesting that Harmony of Dissonance is one of the easiest of all Castlevanias. I think that's pretty universally agreed upon. Though granted, I'm pretty out of the loop at this point, so who knows? Maybe some things have changed, but as far as I'm concerned, it's pretty damned easy. And it's and there's a lot of reasons for that. It's just, I'm about to get. Oh my god! Oh, it's 196. Oh no, it's so bad. Excuse me. Oh, I'm dead. Jesus. Okay. Well, that didn't go very well. God. Yeah, as far as I know, I don't have any way of not getting frozen. It'd be great to not get frozen, but I don't think I have a way to not get frozen. I just have to not get hit by them. Oh, what I have not done. Okay, so let's try this. First, let's see what happens when I have this, right? Because I haven't compared the numbers. So let's see what's going to be better. Is it better? Oh, well, that's not good. Is it better for me to have a passive just 25% enhanced damage? That is it only 2? I think that should be 3. Right? Pretty sure. Yeah, it must be. That's 3. I think we missed one somewhere. Oh god. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, we made a mistake. I'm sorry, Sabby. I don't think that's on my end. I think that's the app. I hope. Pretty sure I got the stuff working properly from over here. But man, yeah. Oh my god. Okay, so really got screwed up there. We just took a whole bunch of damage again. So we're probably gonna have another death here in a second, unfortunately. I mean, I'm glad that we killed Death and got to the waterway here, but not really feeling too great about how the rest of this is going. Crap. Well, I'm screwed. I mean, on the upside, we do start right by it, right? Like, we're right here, so that's good. But, gosh darn it, man. And so this just reminds you, it's like, this is literally where this game expects you to be right now. And in fact, it seems as though the game is kind of designed in such a way that you might not have even gone to the Underground Warehouse and fought Death, right? Which means we've gone to a whole area that this game might expect you not to, right? Like, imagine all of this area being balanced so that we're taking constant damage anytime we're in water. Any water. Period. Which means that you're going to be trying to constantly navigate not being in the water. Welcome back, Sebby. In this area. Right? So, imagine that for a second. Because we have the ability that we need to not take damage from water. But imagine everything we're doing right now if you also were expected to take damage from water. What the hell? Like, I feel as though this area is so hard. And I remember too, I remember when this game came out and I played this part for the first time, right? And I don't think that I had beaten Death before I came here. Pretty sure, because I remember taking constant damage from the water, from, you know, being in the ground, and just being like, what the fuck, man? Like, how? Right? Well, at this point, I'm kind of sitting here going like, oh shit, oh god, there's 2 of them right here. I'm sitting here going like, how the fuck? When I don't have to worry about the water, like, and again, like, I was probably like 5 levels lower. Not that levels mean very much in this game, because they really don't. But I was probably like 5 levels lower when I first went through here. Because I'm like level 31 right now. I was probably like level 25, 26. And the water hurt me. This is just like, there is nothing, oh, well, I'm dead. There is nothing like this in Symphony of the Night. Just nothing. Like, there is not a single thing in that game that is anywhere near as, like, in the normal vanilla playthrough of Symphony, nothing that is even half as hard as what I'm doing right now. Not even close. In the entire game. So it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, Symphony is upper tier when it comes to easy Castlevania, right? Like, if you want to talk about, like, how easy can a Castlevania game get, Symphony of the Night, it's arguably the easiest Castlevania game that's ever existed. It's right up there with Harmony of Dissonance that comes after this. And I'm trying to think, I wonder what would be, if you weren't going to count Harmony and Symphony, what would be the next easiest? I'm not sure. I'll tell you one thing, it's not going to be Circle of the Moon. It's going to be way further down that list towards the hard. It's one of the hardest. I think Circle of the Moon actually might be the second hardest. I want to say that if you're talking about, like, Symphony of the Night style, Castleroid. Ooh, hey, we just got his card. Okay, so that's awesome. So we really don't want to die now, because we just got the sexy ice card. What was that? Yeah, Neptune. We just got Neptune, so that's really cool, right? And you know, you've seen me. We've killed several of these guys, and the cards are oftentimes fairly rare. So it took them that long to drop one. That's really nice. We'd like to keep it. A little nervous though, because it's going to be hard to keep it. But yeah, Symphony is just—it's a really easy game. For a lot of us, big fans of Symphony and Castlevania in general, and games of that style, we had to make challenge modes. We had to invent ways to make Symphony of the Night harder, and so we did. Ow, god damn it. And so my friends and I, they were around and all playing Symphony together and whatnot. Gosh darn it. I screwed that up twice. We invented ways of making it a harder game. We made our own challenge modes, right? Because by default, once you understand the game just a little bit, it's not challenging anymore. Not at all. I mean, Symphony is a very easy game. And it has lots and lots of ways of completely breaking, right? So we had to figure out ways of making it work where it wouldn't be super easy, and we could kind of challenge ourselves. And I want to do some of that. I think that'd be really fun. I think it'd be really fun. Oh no, I'm gonna die! He's gonna shoot me right in the dick with that icicle there. I was gonna try to jump up there and duck that first one and then kill him before he could do it, but it didn't work. So yeah, there's another death for us. Give me one quick second. I'm going to do a little tippy top capper on my beverage, and I'm going to use the bathroom, and we will be right back. And yeah, again, sorry about that. Please bear with me. We're doing it. We're getting there. We're gonna get through this stupid place. Oh, what's this? Oh, is it gonna work? Are we back? All right. Yes. Okay. So we are. Um. Yeah. Okay. So it looks like we're. What is it? We're dying repeatedly too. Oh, we started back here. Okay. So, sorry everybody. I'm gonna have to call the stream a little bit early. Some stuff has come up. I do apologize, but very excited to continue with this moving forward. Looks like we've gotten the GBA thing worked out, and we know where we are. Right, we're going to the Underground Waterway, and we're gonna have to do a bunch of nonsense and all that. We got it. We got it. We got it working. We got death down. We got the cleansing amulet. We have to figure out how to deal with these ice armors, whatever you want to call them. So, sweet. Cool. So we will pick up with this and hopefully be able to finish our run through, right, of Circle of the Moon. And then we're going to move on to Harmony of Dissonance and then Aria of Sorrow, leading into our DS era of Castlevanias. So that's very exciting. And what's really cool too is that, yeah, absolutely, thank you. What's really cool too is that Aria of Sorrow it leads into Dawn of Sorrow, and it's neat because it's like Aria of Sorrow and Dawn of Sorrow. Dawn of Sorrow is a direct sequel, but you get the from GBA to DS, right? And the really fun thing is that not only are the DS Castlevanias pretty great, but I have a randomizer for the DS Castlevanias. So once we get to the DS Castlevanias, we're going to do them vanilla, because of course we are. Because we got to do, we got to do the vanilla. We're going to do the whole thing vanilla. But then we have a whole lot of cool options to randomize those DS Castlevanias. And the really cool thing is that the DS Castlevania randomizers are it's a much more robust and in-depth randomizer than even the Symphony one is. So we can get real weird with it. And they even have a dialogue randomizer, which, again, gets very weird. So that's pretty fun. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that quite a bit. Eventually, we're going to get into a kind of a Castlevania block mode where we're just like, let's get crazy with randomizers, That's going to be exciting and hilarious. For the interim, though, we're going to try to keep plowing through and doing our, I want to show off the vanilla version of all these games. So we're gonna complete Circle. We're gonna do Harmony of Dissonance. We're gonna do Aria of Sorrow, Dawn of Sorrow, Portrait of Ruin, Order of Ecclesia, right? Then we can have some room to dick around. Also, we have Bloodstained, Ritual of the Moonlight, which we're going to play as well. And it also has a randomizer, time attack mode, boss rush mode, classic mode, bloodless mode, Zangetsu mode, all this shit. So even just Bloodstained, once we get to that point, we have all kinds of cool, fun things to do there. Now, we've finished our what does Abby call him? Kyle Calstus. Our Kyle run, our initial Kyle run, Kyle Calstus of our Jedi Fallen Order, right? We finally did beat Jedi Fallen Order, so we have that time slot open now where we're going to kind of slot some other things in, because eventually we're going to get back to like a pretty hard Star Wars block where I want to play a lot of things. Specifically, I want to get into KOTOR, right? Knights of the Old Republic would be awesome. I'm really going to want to do a Knights of the Old Republic playthrough. I think that'd be really fun. I think the stream would enjoy that a lot, because all of y'all can have a lot of input on how we decide to go with that character, right? How we build them, the way they look, whether they're going to be light or dark or a mutual, which party members we take with us, what skills we focus on, right? That's going to be super fun. So KOTOR has been on the docket for a long time. Jedi Fallen Order was a game that was new that I really wanted to play. I was excited about, and I asked for it for Christmas, and my brother Wanyan got it for me, and I was like, "This is just in time. We're gonna play this for our stream and everything." Oh, dude, Murder Hobo is awesome. No, trust me, I'm 100% assuming that when we play KOTOR, that pretty much the vast majority of my stream is gonna be like, kill everybody, be an asshole, murder, 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 and I'm gonna be laughing the whole time. And it's not me, it's you. So that's great. But for those that don't know, right, KOTOR is an amazing game. I've talked to several people about this. I've talked to Sabby about this recently. I've talked to Droob and several other people where I'm just like, look, as far as I'm concerned, like, I think I'm done with JRPGs. Like, generally speaking, I think that traditional style of RPG is just a very lazy and outmoded format. I think that very few games actually embrace or build on it or do good things with it. KOTOR is one of those games that did it very well, right? And they brought a lot to the table. They added a lot of things. They really expanded on it. There is a reason that this game is considered to be so good and that it is so beloved by the community. So I'm very excited about playing KOTOR. It's also probably some of the only old EU canon that they might bring back, right? Because it is just so incredibly, exceedingly popular. It would not surprise me to see elements. There's a lot of reasons for that. Generally, I would say, Sabby, that I think that JRPG format is a very lazy format because it's just plug and play. Well, I say different things about it all the time. I'm just pretty outspoken about how I think I don't think I can play them anymore. And I think a lot of it has to do with just, again, it's plug and play. It's like, it's just a way of delivering a story. Like, there's not really any tactics here. You're gonna run around and you can just level up. You just level up enough, and then you can beat any encounter. You have inventories full of items. They're all stacking up. You're not even using them. They're not balanced. They don't thematically come into play or anything. Oftentimes, the character's abilities don't thematically come into play. Like gameplay and theme and story, like all these things, they don't interconnect. It's just, I could just sit here with like a drinking board or a drinking bird doing this and pecking the action key while I just sit here and read a newspaper or leave the room, go out and practice Tai Chi while my party kills everything. And I don't care. It doesn't none of it means anything. There's no skill involved. There are no tactics involved. And it's just one of those things where it's like JRPGs in general, with very, 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 very few exceptions, have nothing in terms of dynamic, tactics or stratagems, or they don't feel like they're rewarding. They don't feel like they're punishing. It's just, you can literally hold down a button on a turbo controller and walk away, and as long as you don't run out of mana or something, depending on the game, maybe that's not even a concern, and you just, it's like a choose your own adventure book, except a lot of the time you don't get to choose your own adventure. You just have to put in a lot of hours to turn the page. And I whenever I play, I'm just like, it's bullshit. Like, I can think of so few RPG, like JRPGs, where there's any depth at all, or thematically the gameplay and the story merge, right? Almost none. Like, I just think they're lazy. They're lazy games. And there have been some really, really supposedly good ones that people really love over the last few years. And I've tried to play them, and I'm just like, but this is just more of the same. It's just it's the same lazy shit that has existed since the original NES and even before it. You know, like you're looking at like the Ultimate games and the original Phantasy Star games and Dragon Warrior, and it's just boring. It's boring. Like they don't do anything. They're not challenging, you know. So yeah, I just think they're really lazy. Again, this is a very you know, frozen, thawed out, reheated, microwaved, refrozen, rethought out, eaten cold, regurgitated take on JRPGs, but I just think they're kind of shitty games in general. Like, I don't know. I can't think of good gameplay elements from most of them. That's why Chrono Trigger stands out, you know, because Chrono Trigger did a whole lot of things that were really interesting and really innovative, and really added a whole lot of stuff to kind of incentivize item use, incentivize multiple playthroughs, approaching the game differently. They showed you random encounters on the map, you know, all this different stuff. And what's amazing to me is that everyone played Chrono Trigger and was like, this game is fucking amazing, right? And then the people that made Chrono Trigger were like, this game is amazing. And the fans are like, this game is amazing. And then they went on and they made all these other JRPGs and they learned nothing from Chrono Trigger. And it shows, because they re-released Chrono Trigger on the PSX and on the PSP and on like the DS and all this other stuff. And every re-release of it was inferior. And it's like, yeah, granted, you gave us some really awesome Akira Toriyama cutscenes, or, you know, little anime moments for Chrono Trigger, which are beautiful. And it's like, yeah, these are great. And then the actual game is ruined. Like, they have loading scenes on encounters and, you know, all this other crap. And you're just like, Jesus fucking Christ, you missed the whole damn point, you fucking idiots. Right? Like, it drives me crazy. And then, yeah, and Chrono Cross is fucking awful. Like, I tried with Chrono Cross. I tried so hard. And if Chrono Cross had not been teased at being connected to Chrono Trigger, which it was very, very loosely in a really shitty, unsatisfying way, if it hadn't been teased that, maybe I would have liked it as like a not Final Fantasy, right? Probably would have. But they did. And it is supposed to be a follow-up to Chrono Trigger. And it's a completely inferior experience. And I know there's a ton of people out there that adore Chrono Cross. I know they do. I know they exist. I've talked to some of them. I hate that game. Like, Chrono Cross really pisses me off, because it took everything that was good and made it bad. And it focused on all the wrong things. You're right, the soundtrack is great, but it's not as good as Chrono Trigger's was. So it's like, yes, does it have a better OST than many RPGs? Absolutely. Is it better than the game it's supposed to be a sequel to? No. No, it's not. So, yes, amazing OST, but inferior OST to the game that it's supposed to be a sequel to. And gameplay, inferior. Characters, inferior. World building, inferior. Character or player agency, inferior. Design, inferior. Graphics, well, I should say art, not graphics. Graphics isn't fair. Graphics also inferior, but art design, inferior. Like, fuck Chrono Cross. Fuck that game. Is it better than half of Final Fantasy? Yeah. But half of Final Fantasy isn't saying that they're going to be the next Chrono Trigger. Chrono Cross dug its own grave on that one. So, it is what it is. But I just think in general, there have been almost no JRPGs that stand out. Right? And it's just one of those things. It's like, yeah, JRPGs are lazy. They're just lazy. Anyone can like write a story and then just insert archetype characters and say attack, spell, item, defend, run, right? And the vast majority of JRPGs, it doesn't matter what you do. You can like there's no strategy. There's just none. No strategy. It's just leveling. Like, oh, this is a little bit hard. I'm just gonna go grind a couple more enemies outside this town, and now I'm powerful enough that it doesn't even matter. I just use this one spell, and they all just die instantly, and then I just, I'm just not. JRPGs are lazy. They're boring. They're boring games. The story has to be good enough that you care about the story and the characters, right? Because the gameplay isn't going to give you any satisfaction, almost never. So all you're doing is you're reading a book with a lot more steps and turning the page. Just give me a good book. I'd rather read a good book. It's so rare that the stuff between the lines in that book is worth actually living in. And I would say Chrono Trigger is an example of that. I would say Xenogears is an example of that. I really liked Final Fantasy VII the first time I played it. I really liked Final Fantasy IV the first time that I played it. I really liked Final Fantasy IX the first time that I played it. But I would also say the gameplay itself wasn't actually good. It was that I was a little bit involved with the story and the characters. And then once I got to a point where, even in all of those games, I started to realize that, like, oh, but the story and the characters are based on, like, my getting powerful and my beating them. And then I was like, oh, suddenly I just don't care. And that's a weird thing, maybe, because I love all these types of books, and I love, like, the Marvel movies and comics and DC and Marvel and all this. And it's just, I don't want to live in that moment, because that moment is not enjoyable. Like, I've realized that I don't actually enjoy that moment of, like, grinding those levels. Now, granted, I do in some games, right? That's the difference. A normal JRPG expects you to just do it. Well, in normal JRPG, I say, well, this is boring. A game where the gameplay and the themes and the story all merge, and they make something bigger and better, right? Then I can get into it, and I can really enjoy it, and I can get great pleasure out of living in between the pages, so to speak. But your normal run-of-the-mill JRPG, and the vast majority of them as a genre, is just, no, it's just a power grind, and you're just doing a bunch of busy work to turn the page to the next part of the story, and the story's not even that great. So it's like, well, why should I fucking care? This is dumb. It's lazy. I'm just gonna go watch a show. So that's the very long. Well, not the very long. That's the intermediate long answer to why I think JRPGs are a lazy genre. Uh, they just are. I mean, they put most of the impetus on the player, and then they just, it's always like this shoehorn, like, your character is like gonna save the world. He's prophesy, or they're prophesize or something, and oh, there's a great evil and they want to take over or destroy the world, one or the other. Oh, there's a laser. You need a MacGuffin. Get your party. Find the MacGuffin. I don't know. Good question. There's a few of them. There's a Dark Souls one that I think is, was it like Sekiro? I think it's Sekiro. Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, which is supposed to be pretty good. That's actually, I think, what Jedi Fallen Order, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is most based upon, is Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. It's much more counterattack, like parry counterattack oriented, which is, they were like, oh, that's perfect for a Jedi, right? Because you got a lightsaber. So, yeah, there you go. Oh, thank you. I'm over Overwatch. I appreciate that. Yeah, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, it would be the one I was talking about, which is more like, well, I'm going to deflect and then just one-shot you, right? And so that's a very, like, very heavily skill-based counter-parry game. The one that you're probably talking about was the one I was thinking of that was like more of a Kurosawa game, Sabby. And I forget the name of that one, but it looks amazing. And that's the one where you write haikus, and you can turn it in like black and white mode where it straight up looks like a Kurosawa movie. And I think it's supposed to be kind of more on pace with, like, like a GTA game or Red Dead Revolver. Right, yeah, exactly. I mean, right, yeah. And that's the cool thing. Like, you're sitting there and you're looking at your environment, and it's like, it's how you save, I think, and meditate in the game, is you're like, you can pick different elements from nature to write a haiku. And I think that's a really beautiful thing, and it really helps to encapsulate that, that Bushido, Code of Bushido, martial affect, aesthetic, lifestyle, where you're really embracing the quiet, solitary moments in meditation, and embracing beauty and art, while the other half of the game, you're killing people in one stroke, right? It looks beautiful. Sekiro is very much in the Soul style. This game is much more like a love letter to Kurosawa and Japanese culture. And that is a game that I'm definitely going to be acquiring at some point, and we will be streaming, because as a lifelong martial artist and an artist and a writer, it's something that, yeah, there you go, thank you. Ghost of Tsushima, yeah. And it is very much, in many ways, supposed to be a love letter to everything regarding that culture and that kind of art. And certainly heavily, yes, it's PS exclusive. It's considered to be, I think, kind of a magnum opus of the PS4. It's kind of a going away artistic gesture to the PS4. It's exclusive. So yeah, we're definitely going to be picking that up, and we're going to be playing that, because that game looks just completely gorgeous, and it's exactly the kind of thing that basically everything that I care about in life, right? That kind of art and that beauty and that martial art and appreciation of these things that in many ways have been lost in our society. So I think that's really neat. And yeah, I do not think they'll be getting any ports. I think that's going to be a PS4 death knell, kind of, put a rose on it, throw a rose on the coffin, because here comes the new New era. So yeah, we need to get rid of exclusivity for sure. It would be so nice if we could all play games together and enjoy everything. It's so shitty that all these companies, have to fight all the damn time. And it's like, when are they going to learn, man? Like, you're going to sell more games if you let people play them and have if everyone can play together, you're going to have more people playing your games. Because if I've got a PS4 and you all have Xboxes and stuff, and there's a game that we want to play together, well, I'm not going to buy a new console, but if I can play the same game with my friends and they're both playing it on Xbox and I can get it on PS also, I'm much more likely to get it to play with them. But I'm not going to buy a whole new console to play with my friends because a bunch of fucking capitalist assholes are being dicks, and having this exclusivity. And it's like, no, if you raise the water level, all the boats float higher. You dumb shits. So sit down at the table and get along, right? And start putting games out there in such a way that we can all play together, because that's really what it comes down to. Some people prefer Xbox, some prefer Nintendo, well, really, Nintendo's not competing. I mean, most of us Nintendo fanboys and girls and peeps, fan bees of all variety, like me, lifelong Nintendo hardcore enthusiast, we just have Nintendos. We also happen to have Sonys or Xboxes, right? So Nintendos, they don't need to worry. Nintendo can just do whatever it wants. But Sony and Xbox, Microsoft over here, are being assholes. And they're like, this is Xbox house, this is Sony house. Meh, 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 meh. Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. Nintendo is the cheese. It stands alone. It's a MTG for all you Magic the Gathering fans out there. Nintendo is the cheese, and they have a good time, right, Savvy? And debris was everywhere. You better believe it. But the fact of the matter is, they're just dicks about it, and there's no need for them to be. Like, if they were just doing like maybe a little like exclusive fun content here and there, that's one way to do it. Because, for example, you got those people out there that are overall gamers and they have all of the above. I mean, I own pretty much every system there is except Xbox, because I fucking hate Xbox and I will not own an Xbox system, though I do have an Xbox controller, which I do use sometimes. I don't like Xbox on principle. I don't want to own their systems. I don't like their games. I don't think they're the properties they came up with are great. Don't care about them. Don't want them in my house. Love Sony. Love Nintendo. Love Sega. Right? I've got all kinds of crap. I own like 20 game consoles, portable and console, not counting my computer and all my emulators. And it's just one of those things. It's like, well, you put out exclusive content. Well, if I've got the right PS era and I've got, the right Nintendo era, well, I might decide which one of those two systems I'm going to get the game for. But I'm going to get the game for one of them, right? And if I like the game enough, I might get it for both, right? But if I can play with people, all of the above, I have the option. Like, do I want Link? Do I want Kratos? Right? Do I want Spawn? Do I want Yoda? Do I want Darth Vader? Do I want whatever? But it's such a false thing. It's like, man, you're going to have people that are going to be Nintendo loyalists. You're going to have people that are going to be Sony loyalists. You're going to have people that are going to be Microsoft loyalists. Give them the option. But if they can play the game with their damn friends, they're more likely to buy the game, no matter what console they own. And it's just so frustrating that we're still in this mode right now in 2021 when we're how many iterations down the line with these consoles where it's like, oh, this is exclusive. Oh, there's no crossplay. Well, it exists on every platform, but there's no crossplay. So You better own Monster Hunter on the right one, or all those friends you want to hunt monsters with. Yeah, you can't do it. You got to spend another $300, $400, $500, $600 to get your own console to play it with them. Even though you already own the game and all this other shit, and so do they. And it's like, that's bullshit, man. Come on. All of us know it's bullshit. The whole console war thing, it's nonsense. We all know it. Exclusivity is nonsense. We all know it. Cross-platform play should have been the first damn thing that happened. Like with the technology and everything. Like, oh, come on, man. The second we were able to play games online, cross-platform play should have been first thing. But they have fought it tooth and nail all the way because they don't want us to do that because they want us to get all the money. Like, oh, you all got to spend all your money right here, not there. No, you can't. Don't give them money. All of the money right here. Not having it. So I don't know how I got on that long ass tangent, but yeah, hopefully it will. Hopefully everything is gonna work out well moving forward, and before too terribly long, cross-platform play is not going to be a term anymore because it'll just be the norm. That's our hope, right? Pretty sure it was never your fault over Overwatch. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it wasn't your fault either, unless of course you are the godfather of capitalism. In which case, we can start forming a line here in the queue to lynch you. So I think we all know who's at fault, and that is just these CEOs. They don't want to share, and it's just it's just one of those things where it's really obvious that the people in charge are not people that care about these kind of things. They just care about money, right? Because and they're short-sighted. That's the thing. Because if they were long-sighted, you can easily finagle this and work and market it so that you will make more money. Like, they will sell more games if they increase and encourage cross-platform play. Because then you open a whole market, right? And you can have everybody like in competition to be like, well, we're going to get it on this console, right? Oh, well, what can we do to make it, more viable on the Sony or on the Microsoft system or on the Nintendo system? Well, again, they're not competing. They know they don't have to compete. It's not like Xbox and Sony people and PC people have us, and I'm sitting here like, I have all those things except the Xbox system, and you're right. But that's really all it boils down to, is that it's just short-sighted. It's that quick get, right? But anyways, sorry for that. I this was supposed to be a long beating Circle of the Moon, which we're gonna try to, I guess, put off until the next one. Though we did make some good. We had some progress. We got death down. We got all that. We gained a couple of good items. Figured out where we're supposed to be going. Going to be moving towards that. We will Nocturne as soon as we are affiliate. We should add a pitchfork. We should add a pitchfork. We need to add a pitchfork. So we got Forbidden Pringle. We got to figure out Obi-Wan Slide Shobi. Possibly the Loot Saber. We'll figure out that. Dumpster Thumping, definitely, and maybe a pitchfork, right? Because, dear Lord, are there plenty of things with my opinionated self that we can bring some pitchforks out for? It's your live stream. You do what you want to. But yeah, moving up towards affiliate, we got to keep in mind all of our beautiful and delightful little emojis and emotes that we're gonna be crafting and, and spreading to the winds, to the four corners of the earth. That's gonna be delightful. So, good times. Before before my dumbass signs off, anything else anyone wants to know from my opinionated ass self about video games and genres and S tier and games of God and all that stuff? Sidebar. I'm over Overwatch. Thank you very much, by the way. I really appreciate you you speaking up and asking questions and adding your 2 cents. It really means a lot. We always are very happy to have everybody engage and speak up, and I always try to talk to and react. Yeah, no, you're fine. Yeah, dude, awesome, man. I appreciate it. Well, I hope you are back, and thank you, Nocturne. No, we can always, one of those things I always joke about, but I'm only half joking. Is that maybe I should just have a stream some night where I'm like, and this is gonna be me giving long and loud opinions about gaming. So you don't want to hear it? Maybe this isn't a stream for you. Feel free to ask questions, and then also be prepared to listen while I go off for Lord knows untold amounts of time. But I do, as everyone that knows me well knows, have very, very strong opinions about a great many things, particularly video gaming, since I am now going on 39 and have been doing it since I was 2.5 on very old computers that had very large discs. And I had no idea what I was doing, but I loved every damn minute of it. So, again, love you all. Thank you very much. Sorry to call the stream a little bit early tonight and not get quite as far, but I do think it was still a pretty good stream, and that we did talk about a lot of good stuff, and we did make some progress. And this is the big one, I did figure out how to get Virtual Boy to work properly with OBS, finally. Because we were having some issues with that. I still, to this day, don't know why it worked perfectly fine until near the end of the stream, and then it started freaking out when I hadn't figured out what was going on and fixed the settings yet. I get why it didn't work well at the end. I'm not sure why it worked so well for the first couple of hours, though. That's what's confusing. It's like, well, why did it work when I wasn't doing it right? But in any event, we do seem to have fixed it. So, yeah, going forward on the Castlevania days, we're going to be continuing here. We're going to be doing Circle of the Moon, Harmony of Dissonance, Aria of Sorrow, Dawn of Sorrow, Portrait of Ruin, Order of Ecclesia, and then we're going to move on to Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, and Bloodstained's 8-bit shoot-offs, right? Which that's going to be a lot of fun. And then we're going to keep at least one Castlevania night open, or at least return to, because, of course, as you know, Castlevania is my favorite franchise of all time, and we really want to play with it, and we have randomizers out the ass. So we're always going to be full of content for Castlevania. That's not a concern. We have Castlevania Symphony on. Well, almost. Circle of the Moon and Harmony don't really have a randomizer that works very well. But all the other GBA, and, well, the only other GBA, all the DS ones do have randomizers that work great. And Symphony does, as you've seen, because we've done it. So we're going to be doing that. Always a good time. Eventually, we might just have like a set Castlevania, at least Symphony of the Night randomizer night, because it's so much fun. And there's so many options, and I love it so much. That said, we have a lot of things to do moving forward. So, again, thank you all so much. And, yeah, I just appreciate your support and hope you're having even half as much fun as I am. You all really make it happen. So, love and peace, and we'll be back.